So, here we are at Claw, 2018. Could you be so kind as to introduce yourself? Are you like? We've got 4 people here. Are you a pack? Are you a crew? Are you a daring robbers?
I guess I could field it. So my name is Scott. I'm the head of this other family that we're a part of. So myself, my husband Ian, then in total 5 subs, 6 subs, including my husband's one. So Troy, Aaron, Nico, and then a couple of subs else, and then my husband's sub as well.
So you've got 6 subs.
I have 5. My husband has 1.
Oh my gosh! How do you manage this? You must have more hands than Ganesha.
It is. It's a little bit between Ganesha and Shiva.
Oh yeah.
Every once in a while. Every once in a while, you feel a little bit like you want to be Shiva, but it's a challenge.
Okay. So how did you all come to meet? What's the story?
I met my sir through the bathhouse first.
Yes.
Yeah, we met at the bathhouse during bear night, and that was when I was still dating my ex. And then things kind of went like with him, and I ended up seeking guidance with Sir.
Yep.
And through all that, I was adopted.
Yeah, I mean
adopted along the way.
Yeah, the relationship grew out of him coming to me for some advice, and then we just like spending time together, and then eventually it grew into what we have now, which has been nearly 7 years.
Coming 7 years this September.
That's significant. That's really great. Yeah. Now, do you all live in the same place, or do you live in like evenly spread and distributed across America?
I live in Toronto. Sir lives. Well, I live on the eastern edge of Toronto.
Okay.
Sir lives on the western edge of Toronto, so there's like a good 1.5 to 2 hours public commute. That's fine.
I live in Buffalo, New York, which is about a 2-hour drive from Toronto too. And then
I live in California, all the way on the other side of the continent.
So,
but
I'm moving to Buffalo to be closer.
Okay. So how do the logistics of that work? It's like multiple time zones, and you're across a very wide space. What is your secret to success with that?
Well, I think the one thing that I maybe forgot to mention about these three, is that they are in a relationship themselves. They are a triad. So that, as you know, in any relationship with multiple people, it adds its own brand of fun, but also throws in a few complications here and there, and then adding me into the mix of I sort of think of it as like a
pyramid.
As a pyramid, a tetrahedron.
Yep. Would you consider yourself the top of the top or the base?
We're the base. Because it's all 3 of us.
Yeah.
And we're all collared to our sir, so it's like boop.
Okay. I suppose that wasn't being facetious, but is it are you the base of support, or more of the leader from the top?
I think at this point in time, as they're settling into their relationship and settling into, figuring it all out, I think a lot of times it has been the base of support.
Yeah.
Because, my husband and I have provided a space for them to stay while they've been in Toronto and establishing things. Not just because, in part because we care for them all very, very much, but and that I think dynamic will shift as they, as they settle themselves. And
yeah, because our sirs have like a fairly large enough space that he has a spare, like they have a spare room for us to stay in.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever Troy's up in town, we get to stay over, and especially when Aaron's in Toronto, because
it's a hike.
yeah,
As I found out this weekend, it's a hike. Get
It's
around
true.
these
Yeah.
places. It's
It
like,
is.
It's no easy trip. So your partner, how is he a dom as well, or because it must be interesting saying, oh well, I've got my 6 subs just coming over for tea and biscuits. How does that work?
That happens too.
Well, I mean, I think Troy, can you answer at least how you experience Syrian? Like,
Oh yeah. So I would say that Sir's husband, he is kind of in the middle between being kind of like a dominant role and being a submissive role, because Sir and Sirian in the past have both been collared to the head of our family, who is Grandmaster Chuck. They were both collared to the same person, kind of like how the 3 of us are collared to Sir. So in that sense, there are times when he can be in more of a submissive kind of mindset, because he is still collared to Grandmaster Chuck. But then, of course, he has his boy John, who he recently collared over the last year or so. Since then, he's become more of in kind of like a dominant role, more of like a take charge of situations that are going on. So I would say it's interesting having 2 dominants in the same household that are technically kind of separate, but also not separate, because obviously they're married. Because we have our own little kind of like sections. Because Sir has us 3, and then also Boy Charles, and then Slave Tyler. And then Sir Ian has Boy John, but we all kind of consider ourselves together.
coalesce
Yeah.
into like.
I mean, the official thing between Ian and I is that we don't give each other's boys orders per se, right? However, as a matter of expediency, sometimes that happens, like to get things done. If I've stepped out, or if he's stepped out, but usually it'll be more phrased in the strongly worded requests as opposed to orders.
Well, I was going to actually ask. My next question was: is there siloing between? So there's your submissives, and then the new submissive. Are they separated, or is it more melded? Is it more 7 versus 6 plus 1?
I would say that it's for the most part, it is the 6 plus 2, but there's Ian and John plus us 6.
Okay.
That we, there are times when it is quite separate, but there also are times where it's very fluid, and it just is whatever works.
Okay. So I suppose an interesting to me, and hopefully for anybody who watches this video. Otherwise, subscribe
Why are you
now.
watching?
Because it's but so if you are part of a team of 6 submissives, right? The 3, and then you've got your own triad relationship. The roles that you have as submissives, are they different to the roles that you have within your relationship?
I would say yes.
A little.
No, I think they're more distinct.
Yeah.
So like when we're in a submissive, like being submissive situation, like say we have guests over at the condo, or we're out in like a leather public sense, like Claw, or like a leather event at a bar or something like that. We tend to go into the more submissive role, like we kind of be more as subs to Sir, then partners. Not that that ever goes away, of course.
Yeah.
But when we're not in like a more formal situation, we tend to be partners first, and then obviously all subs to Sir.
So like enter boy mode.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think one of the unique advantages of them having the triad has been because Nico had been with me for 5.5 years before Troy came into the picture. So at some level, Troy learned some of the craft of being a boy from Nico, and then when Aaron was added to the mix, he was able to learn stuff both from me but also from them. So I think would you say you've benefited from having these guys to kind of mentor you at times and
Right. Yeah, because I get different perspectives from each one of them.
Minus the wrong perspective.
So but you were in California, right? So how did you come to get mixed with a group of people on the other side of the country?
Yeah,
what's the story there?
What is the story there?
If you like, I can explain it.
Yeah, please.
So the beauty of social media, honestly, basically, of the three of us, I've known Aaron the longest. I've known Aaron for about 5 years through Facebook, 4 years through Facebook. Excuse me. We kind of became like acquaintances on Facebook. We had similar likes, like similar video games. We were both very heavily into fitness, so we kind of became friends. Similar things we found attractive, So as we became better friends, then I met Nico, began dating Nico, and then I became provisionally collared to Sir. That eventually became a full official collar. And then all of this is going on. I'm still friends with Aaron, still talking to Aaron, and then of course now we've added Nico into the talking with Aaron as well. And that our triad relationship developed first as a friendship, and then it eventually developed into, hey Aaron, you're coming to visit. Do you want to come hang out? Oh yeah, it was really great to hang out with you. We really like each other. And then the second time he came to hang out, he came to visit. We're like, hey Aaron, you want to date us? And he's like, okay, and that was it.
There was more to it than just that. In between the first visit and the next visit, there was all of this chatting between us online.
He would drop hints every now and then, like trying to gauge my interest in polyamory. And
you're like, yeah. So how are you for dating more than one guy? What's that like for you?
I suppose that's the thing, is that it's sort of testing of water and seeing it. So how long ago was that? That was
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
About a year and a half.
About a year and a half. Year and a half.
Okay.
Because we've been a little bit longer, almost 2 years.
No, that's the relationship. But I mean, in terms of talking.
About 2 years. Yeah. About 2 years. Yeah.
Wow. So thank you, inventor of the internet, for bringing lights minds together. So would you say, what's the experience like to be in the difference between being in relationship mode and being in submissive mode? Being in submissive mode, how would you find that?
Well, in terms of being submissive to Sir mode versus being in a relationship mode, because I ended up having more tenure, I tend to take charge more when it comes to being Sir's subs.
Yep.
So, if Sir asks us to do something, I take charge of that.
Yep.
And they both know that in that aspect, I'm the one taking charge of that. I have to oversee that. It's not that I'll throw it at them like, hey, do this. Although sometimes I do, but I shouldn't. But yeah, they'll understand hey, we're doing this, and when it's us three as partners, then there's that whole discussion where it's like equity amongst us, and we. How would you?
I would say that between the two situations, like being in the submissive mode, like you said, or being in just the usual relationship mode, I would say it's pretty seamless for us at this point.
Yeah.
Because Nico and I have been together for almost 3 years. It'll be 3 years this August. Shush. So I kind of picked it up from that, because we would of course have the same thing. We relationship mode when we're out, and submissive mode when Sir asks us to do something, or asks us to, or hosts some friends, or something similar to that. So Aaron kind of picked it up pretty easily, the transition between the two, because we just showed him how to do it, and he just did it. So
Yeah.
And I suppose we haven't really clarified this as well, because submissive is a broad church, and so you've got your dominant versus submissive, but you've also got the sort of submissive slave elements. Where do you fit in that spectrum? Is it more that you're paying pigs, or is it more that you like to serve?
For me, it's very much a subservience to my sir. Like when we initially started talking to each other, he was feeling out my submissive sense, and I was getting more in touch with it. And after he collared me, there was a lot more discussion along the way about it, and somehow it just flowed naturally, where I would sort of become his Nurse Ratched, his secretary. Like, it's more like an attendant kind of subservience, where I'm by my sir's side. If he needs to get anything done, I get that done. If there's any fires that need to put out, I will put that out, so that he gets to have more attention towards important things. And in a more home sense, like whenever we have guests over, I would take in charge of the cooking duties, because Sir cooks a lot. He cooks amazing. But in order for him to have fun with the guests, I will.
Out of the kitchen.
Yeah, he needs to step out of the kitchen. I step in and continue whatever he's doing.
And let's just say that I generally don't play well in the kitchen with other people. And being able to cook in my kitchen is almost an earned thing. Like Nico has proven himself quite capable, so I'll turn the kitchen over to him and just walk away.
Okay. So there's no pro versus anti-cilantro arguments or anything?
There still
yes,
are.
there are.
There still are.
Pro, cilantro.
But with Nico having been with me now for 7 years, I mean, there is that time where I can turn my head over my shoulder, and he already knows what I'm looking for, particularly if it's in certain types of scenes where he's helping. But that comes with experience and comes with time, and just getting to know, getting to know me, and he's, and all of them. I mean, all of them have provided that support to us.
So, I suppose there's two sides to this question, and so we'll go with your side first, if that's okay. If there were other dominants watching this video thinking, oh cool, I just want to have a household of 6 slaves, what guidance would you offer people to say, well, this is, it doesn't come out of the box like this. How would you, what recommendations would you give?
The joking answer would be, be careful what you wish for. And I say that because
I feel like that's a very serious answer.
I would say it's been a joy. But as soon as you add 5 people plus 1, plus a husband, plus another submissive, I mean, you just start doing the math on that. as to how many different relationships there are in the room.
Yep.
And to a degree, you've got to have a finger on all of them, right, to understand what's going on. And, you know, adding a person into the mix after it's been established for a while, you know, there's that period of
Tension.
and challenge and figuring out how this person fits. And, you know, so I think go into it very intentionally, go into it very mindful that there are going to be periods of bumps and explosions, and but then always remember what you're committed to be doing.
Yeah.
And
Well, another thing, you know, diamonds don't come out of the mine looking like a perfect 1 carat, do they?
Yep.
There's polishing and there's shaping and all that.
Absolutely.
But from the team submissive, how would you what recommendations would you give? Well, firstly to a sir, but what recommendations would you also give to other people who are thinking, you know, this is something that might be of, you know, worthy of exploration?
Yeah.
Do
Aaron?
you have any thoughts? Or?
Well, because as you know, as the more recent person on the couch, you can give an interesting perspective.
I mean, I would say that this pretty much applies to any relationship or new relationship too. Is like being honest about your expectations of what this new relationship is going to be, you know, and communicating, like, you know,
Just keep talking.
just keep talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much just keep talking about everything. Like, be more open about everything, because we are dating as a triad, but we also have a sir, so we need to be able to communicate with each other better. Like, hey, this is what's happening with us as a primary relationship, and when with our sir, we have to be able to communicate with each other better, because if he gives us instructions or if he's going through something, we all support each other. But at the same time, if, for example, Aaron's going through something, in either in the DS setting or as a relationship, we all help each other out. Because just because we're not dating our sir doesn't mean he doesn't care about us.
Yep. Do you ever have to demarcate, like, I'm talking to you as a submissive at the moment, or I'd like to speak with submissive Troy, please. But have you got into funny situations where you've had to go, oh, well, hang on, yeah, okay, now this is the role I am in currently, or not really? It's more of a fluid experience.
I think at least for me, it's completely, like, it's the same. Like, me as, like, just Troy, and then me as boy Troy, like, colored Troy. It's the same thing, because at least this is my take on the submissive part, but I am submissive because I want to be. It is actually part of who I am. So I don't feel like I have to have a submissive mindset to be a submissive. It's just part of who I am. So there's really no distinct difference between me being in submissive mode and me being in regular Troy mode. For me, it's the same thing.
It's a uniform.
Yeah. So there's really no, like, if Sir says, boy, do this, just go do it. No, there's no, like, boy, hey, like, just go do it.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Doesn't even call you boy as much anymore. It's just.
Well, but I'm talking in general. Like,
in general, yeah.
We got 5.
Yeah.
Hey. But I suppose the other interesting dynamic within this sphere is that a lot of people will know you guys, well, particularly Troy and Aaron, is through your fitness endeavors as well. So what's the story behind that, and how does that all connect in?
Like, between us, like, with showing off like with fitness things, and then because of that being like brought in towards the DS perspective. You mean?
Oh gosh, I hadn't thought of that. But is that's incorporated or?
Oh well, I mean the main thing that where I post is I don't use Instagram as much. I normally go more towards Facebook just because it's what I use, and I don't have. I myself don't have like a Muggle profile, so I don't have like a non-kink profile and then a kink profile. I have no distinction between the two. But because of that, I post both my fitness stuff to my account and also anything relating to DS to the same account. So because if people are interested in me because of like the fitness post or whatever, they also get the DS stuff, and that could possibly get them asking questions. Like I've had people ask me, just randomly message me and say, "Hey, what's this? What's this you were talking about on this post?" And then I'll just explain it to them.
Yeah.
So it kind of opens up a channel of discussion because they're already interested in one facet of me. Now there's this other one that they're seeing, and they're like, "Oh, what is that? What's this about?"
Yeah.
So it does kind of help open up, at the very least, a connection to the DS
Yeah.
community.
Yeah.
Same here. Like my profile is just like, it's like a hybrid profile. Like, you know, I'm just like open about pretty much everything. So that openness kind of draws people in, because like I'll get messages that, you know, where people will ask like, "Oh, you know, I noticed you have a collar. Like, what does that mean? You know, or you know, why are you wearing that collar?"
And would the collars that you're currently wearing, are they a 24/7 collar, or do they come off when, you know, the work clothes go on? Or?
For me mainly it's a choice. Like whenever, like when our sir collars us, like for me in particular, he will put it on me for the first time, and it's up to me whether or not I put it on or take it off. And the only other time he will touch it is to take it off of me when I've moved past this form of relationship. So for me, I've used this almost as like an emotional support as well. Like whenever I'd be having like really bad times, sometimes I'd wear this under my clothes just to like help center myself. And most often than not, like whenever we stay at their place, slap it on right away because it is in reverence to my sir and the relationship we have.
Another thing as well, along those same lines, is that one thing that we're specifically told when being collared is that the collar is a representation of our relationship with Sir. So when we are wearing the collar, we are representing Sir at that time, regardless of what we're doing. So if we are going to be doing something that shouldn't be connected to Sir, like not necessarily bad, but like may not have anything to do with Sir himself, we are free to not wear the collar at that time, because anytime we're wearing the collar, regardless of what other people know about it, we're still representing Sir as part of his submissive family. So because of that, I tend to only wear the collar when I go out to anything like leather related, or when I come up to Toronto, when I come to visit. Only because it's not fair of me to represent Sir in situations that he isn't even aware of necessarily.
Yep. Makes sense. Very good. So, I suppose, you know, we've talked for a little while now, and you know, sort of bringing it all together. Then, what do you have any particular tips or ideas that you would say to you know, young players? Going into this, what sort of ideas would you share with them?
Speak up for yourself. Like that's very important when it comes to a DS relationship, is that you have your own voice, and if your dominant doesn't want to hear your opinions, that's not really healthy. Like it is a relationship. You guys should communicate with each other, and if one side isn't willing to communicate with the other, then that's just wrong and bordering on the abusive. So speak up, tell your dominant what you want, what you think, and talk it out.
Cool.
Yeah.
Aaron, any? Because you're with sort of on this couch, you're the youngest submissive. Not we're not talking about age. We're just talking about in the context
I can't
of
call them
submission
old.
within this group of people.
I was called old.
I don't really have any advice. I'm still relatively new.
You're still
So you're
figuring
getting
it out.
it. You're still exploring and learning and yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I guess I'll go next. One thing that I would greatly recommend is don't be afraid to ask for what you want. Like it's not all about the dom in the case of a dom sub relationship. It's really not. It's all about getting both sides getting benefit from the equation in the way that they want. So if you're looking for a dominant, you don't want a dominant who's going to do things that are either going to make you upset or make you angry or hurt you. You want to find someone who's going to both do things that you want, like whether it be play or whatever you prefer, and also help build you up as a person and make you a better version of yourself. On the flip side, as a dominant, you don't want to find a submissive who is necessarily just going to do whatever you want them to do with no questioning.
That's boring.
If
I think that every dom sub relationship has its own feel to it. Obviously there are those people who very much like that yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full sir sort of way of being, and that works for them. I personally like subs who have got opinions of their own, who as I've often said, if I ask them where they want to go for dinner,
that's a horrible idea.
That is.
So the usual thing is wherever you want, sir, and that answer drives me crazy. Because the thing is, I want their opinion. I want to know what they're feeling like. Decision's still going to be mine because that's my job. But I still want their opinion. But in terms of the big tips and tricks, I would say, certainly echoing Nico, communicate. Echoing Troy's thing about asking for what you want. One of the challenges of being the sir of multiple boys is that there's only so many minutes and hours in every day. And when a visit time is short, there's only so much time you can dedicate to play, to everything else, because you've still got life things to get taken care of, right?
Yeah.
And so sometimes what I've begun to build into the process is getting them to be very intentional about saying, hey,
This is what I love.
or hey, I'd really be up for this if we can set some time aside, and sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't, but we try, we try to do it that way to keep, in some respects to keep people satisfied from that perspective, and I think the other thing is just being really, really realistic about, especially if you're wanting to come into a larger family dynamic, is that, you have to be really realistic about the amount of individual time you'll get, and that. So, but, I think there is benefit in numbers. Because, there is certainly some part of the dynamic where, if 2 of the boys happen to have a mutual play interest, there's nothing stopping them from, although they may want it specifically from me, hey, if they've got a mutual play interest and it works,
Right.
have at it, right?
Yeah.
But I think it is. I always say to them, because I'm also one that comes very much from a place that I'm incredibly privileged to be who I am with these amazing men in my life. And I consider it a unique privilege and a unique honor to be able to do it. And that they choose to give this gift of themselves to me. And I do my best to always thank them, at the end of every day or at the end of every time they visit, as part of in a sense, the ritual of saying goodbye to them, to say thank you for your service.
That sounds great. If people wanted to get in contact with you, what recommendations do you have? What is your MySpace page?
I still have one.
I think
I'm not talking about what it is.
About a boy band, but
I think all of us have Facebook profiles. I mean, these three are much more socially, medially
active.
Active than I am.
High engagement.
This would be our PR and marketing department over here.
We are both part of the fitness department.
Yeah.
So, I mean, certainly those sorts of things are certainly I'm always open to talking with people to providing whatever pieces of advice I can. And I think
usually if you Google Ninja Adobo, a lot of times you see my name pop up.
Ninja what?
Ninja Adobo. Ninja like an adobo, like the Filipino dish.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That'll usually show up on my Instagram. I think it's also linked to my Twitter
And Tumblr.
and Tumblr.
Let's not go to Tumblr.
On Facebook, Nico Ramin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. On Facebook, Aaron Gomez. On Twitter,
It's Gpup.
Gpup_ Deimos. Like the moon of Mars.
One of them.
Yeah.
And then for me, I generally use Facebook primarily, so either add me, Troy Mikowitz, if you want to ask to spell it. Just do MIN, and I'm almost definitely going to be the one to pop up. So
Generally, when you add one of us, you'll see the
you'll
other
get
two
pop-ups
right away.
too.
Mutual
Yeah.
friends.
and
It blows up.
It's the easiest way to find
and
my
probably
name.
the simplest way to get in touch with me is to find one of them, and then
Yep.
Yeah.
mutuals will
Chain of command.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll show up.
And I also have Twitter as well that I don't go on quite as often. My Twitter handle is Kunai Kun, like the
Twitter-
knife Kunai.
Okay.
My Twitter is just pretty much Tumblr reblogs.
Yeah.
And my Instagram posts.
Yeah.
Nothing much happens on my Twitter.
You never know, people might like that.
Yeah. True.
Go through my
You gotta
Tumblr.
meet people where they're at. when it
Yeah.
comes to that.
Yeah, this could be.
And I'm pretty sure Troy's contact info is also on like a bathroom wall. And I did that as a joke.
And still there and working like a champion.
I have gotten random texts before, so that could be it.
I'm so sorry.
You might be getting some random texts from Cleveland this week. So
Oh, gosh.
That's exciting. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't think of that.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for your time, and thank you very much for spending time with us at Claw in 2018. It's really been a fun thing. So,
yeah, it's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Definitely really appreciate it.